Okay, we're live. We're
Hi.
back for another world stage discussion. Because why? There's always something going on the world
Yeah.
stage. Like you said in our last podcast,
Mm,
it's like a treadmill. They keep us
yeah.
on this treadmill of look here, look here, look here. So it's hard not to look here. Right?
Exactly. Things are getting pretty bleak, in my opinion.
Yeah. And now they're talking about Trump possibly pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell. She's been
Yeah.
allegedly moved to a lower security facility, which, according to some, it's been said that that's actually not even, they're not supposed to be able to do that. A registered, convicted sex offender in that kind of facility, but they did it. You
They
know,
did it.
they
Yeah.
did it because, once again, the elites can pretty much get away with whatever they like, whatever
Yeah.
they
And
want.
it just seems like it was just planned this way all along. Like this is just what they were planning to do. And who knows where Jeffrey is.
Right. There's
I don't
all,
necessarily think he's even dead. Because
right.
then now they have that video where there's like a minute missing
Mm-hmm.
where he
Well,
could have just walked out. I don't know.
exactly. But they've come out in different ways with that whole video, right? They came out with the video making the claims that there was a minute missing, nothing made sense. Then people are saying, wait a minute, that doesn't even look like where Epstein was held, right?
Yeah.
And then they came out with information sharing that, oh, wow, there's been multiple different clips put into this video and it's not even the right
Mm-hmm.
video. Everything they've been telling us all together from the minute
Lies.
missing to the video, it's not, it's all lies. It's not even,
Yeah.
so
Everything's a lie.
how are we supposed to believe any of this stuff if
Right,
they're
exactly.
constantly lying to us? It's frustrating. And of
Mhm.
course, Trump keeps deflecting and he doesn't want us to talk about Epstein. So it makes people want to talk about Epstein more, which I say, keep talking about it. I mean, this is one area where I'm actually pretty proud of the people for not backing down from
Yeah,
talking about this, because
definitely.
I don't think people should just cover up files and just let them
Right.
do whatever, you know? I mean,
Mhm.
what's there, like 1,000 survivors? I don't like to call them victims, they're survivors, right?
Survivors, yeah.
Who are never going to get justice with the way things are going, right? Because they keep gaslighting and telling us all these things. One minute it's there, then it's not there. It's sitting on her desk, now it's not sitting on her desk. It's like the whole thing is just infuriating.
Yeah.
And then to add to what we talked about last time with Alligator Alcatraz and all of those
Mm.
prison, I call them prison camps. Um,
Yeah, I
and
would
you and
too.
I were like, Spidey senses are going off, right? Spidey senses, what's going on here? What's going on here? What are they going to do with these once all these illegals are gone, right? Well, then what does Trump do? Executive order on homeless encampments, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So I'm going to share this first clip we have. And also, too, I want to tell the audience that we're trying to be cautious on sharing things. With everything that's going on and all the control that's going on and everything that we're headed to, this digital, what seems to be like a digital slavery, which in my opinion, all of this stuff that we go through as humans right now, it seems like some kind of modern day slavery. YouTube flagged us for a copyright last week. So now
Mhm.
it's, and they don't tell you what it's for. They don't specify, well, it's because this, that, and the other. And as their AI is scanning your video, they don't tell you, like, oh, we noticed this needs to be, can you please remove this? No, they don't care about that. They just, once you upload it, then they decide to flag you, and then you don't even know what needs to be removed or whatever. So I'm just being more cautious going forward. I'm going to try really hard to be more careful about things because I don't even know what it is that I did wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I
Okay,
thought it
so
was the music maybe, but who knows?
what can you do? I don't know. We can't even use music these days. It's like they don't want us to have any fun. They don't want us to do anything. They don't want to share our thoughts or anything that's any significance. It's like always they're poking at you until you want to give up, right? And I think that's the goal. They want us to be so irritated that we just eventually just give up on this, and we're not going to give up. We're going to keep
Right.
doing what we can to share this
Mm.
stuff. Okay, so here's the first clip.
President Trump has signed a new executive order aimed at cracking down on homeless encampments. KTLA's Annie Rose Ramos live in downtown LA with the details. Annie Rose, good morning.
Hi, Frank. Good morning to you. Yeah, that new executive order from the president aimed at making it easier for cities and states across the country to remove homeless people from the streets. We want to get straight to that language of the order from the White House so you can see a little bit of it for yourself. It says it is targeted at removing, quote, vagrant individuals from our streets and redirects federal funds towards programs that tackle substance abuse. This order seeking to shift federal grant funding to states and cities that enforce prohibitions on urban camping, enforce prohibitions on drug use, and adopt policies allowing people with serious mental illnesses or substance abuse disorders to be forced into treatment. The governor responding to Trump's new executive order, saying it is more focused on creating distracting headlines.
Okay, we're not going to talk about the distraction red versus blue BS that they're about to put on the screen. You know, all he's going to say is, oh, it's Trump's fault for blah, 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 blah. No, the issue that I have here right now is like, who gets to define who is mentally ill when they're coming to get people, right? And who also gets to define what is considered homeless? Because that's another issue I'm finding as I'm doing this research on all of this, that people are concerned that people that aren't druggies or junkies or people that actually have jobs and are living lives, that are living in RVs or living what some people might call the van life, these people are rightfully concerned that they're going to be targeted as well, right?
Yeah, these laws are going to apply to those people also.
Right. And what, to me, it's like, what contributed, what created this van life? I feel like in the past few years, it's really been amped up. Like more people are living in RVs and living in their vans. And I think it's because COVID. I think that COVID literally created a situation where people could no longer afford to live in their houses and could not afford the rent because all that craziness was going on with rental increases and such, that people decided, you know what, we're just going to leave all this behind. We're going to get an RV or live in a van, and we're just going to be a nomad and do what we need to do. And it sounded like for a while there, it was going good for a lot of people.
Exactly, yeah.
Now it's like one of those things where, you know how they get you used to convenience or a new way of living, they get you used to it, and then they want to take it away from you. Right?
Yeah.
So people have pretty much handed over their houses and they're living out of their vans, just try to make ends meet. And a lot of these people, like I said, they have jobs. They're not junkies. They're contributing to society. They just can't afford rent. They can't afford living in a house.
Some people prefer to live that way, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if we were truly free people, we would be able to do that.
Right. Why are we allowing the government to dictate what is considered a home? Who are they to dictate that? But see, they're making it all about, oh, we got to get the junkies off the street. And I understand the concern there. But then you have to go back to, who created the junkies on the street? Why are they all there?
That's so true. Yeah.
How did
Big Pharma?
Right. How did thousands of people end up homeless, on drugs, on our streets? People have to ask those questions. Like, maybe it's the economy's too expensive. People can't afford things. Maybe people get chewed up and spit out working for the military. I'm sure a lot of these people are veterans, right? So they're going through PTSD or whatever they're dealing with. And we all know our government does not treat veterans well. You know?
And one thing that caught my eye in that clip is that they're going to redirect funds towards mentally ill treatment for the mentally ill. What is that treatment going to be? Very concerning. Because things are changing.
Yes. And these are everything we should be asking ourselves. I think there's too many people that are jumping on the bandwagon thinking that Trump is signing these orders to clean the streets. But I think that there is always an underlying thing going on. It's not just about them cleaning up the streets, because they literally allowed the streets to get filthy in the first place, you know?
Right. It's kind of like the immigrant situation. To me, I look back at everything that has happened, and this is why I say Biden or Trump, it doesn't matter who's in there, because I feel like they were working together to get the immigrants into the country. Why? To make money off of them later, to get them locked up, because we know the prison industry is a huge industry, which leads into AlligatorAlcatrez and all the facilities that they want to build. If they were just
Yes.
going to send these people back, then they wouldn't need so many facilities.
Agreed. Agreed. And there are a lot of people in the van life community that are sounding the alarms on this. I want to share one video from a lady who has legitimate questions about what really is going on here. Who dictates what is a society norm or not? And why are we allowing them to do this to everybody, you know? So
Yeah.
her YouTube channel is, I want to give her credit here. It's Van Boozled. The question is van life about to be criminalized here?
On July 24th of 2025, our current administration signed an executive order about crime and disorder on the streets. And while it's meant to target homelessness and encourage public safety, it actually affects vehicle dwellers, van lifers, and nomads. We are no longer seen as a separate lifestyle from homelessness. It's really terrifying to know that even though me and my husband have careers, we're educated, we're not on substances, we don't have mental health problems, we're simply doing this lifestyle because we don't want to have the majority of our income go to a rental. We're trying to save up and buy land. And this is really a vessel to better ourselves. And there's so many other of you out there that wanted this alternative lifestyle. You didn't want a home. You didn't want sticks and bricks. Maybe you wanted an RV or a built-out schoolie to travel the nation and see it. Well, now we are being looked at as vagrants, as a danger to the community and a danger to ourselves simply because we live an alternative lifestyle. This executive order encourages cities to crack down on things like urban camping, loitering, and even people sleeping in vehicles, which means we could be treated the same as someone living on the streets, even though we're just traveling or living on the road legally. Now, here's the kicker. The government is offering federal grants to cities that enforce these policies. So these cities that restrict van lifers or crack down on street camping could get extra funding.
There you go. You said that. You brought up the funding and things, and this is also comes back to what they did during COVID too. They gave incentives. This is also AlligatorAlcatrez. They're giving states incentives and money to do this stuff to people, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what else she says, and then I want to go to the next clip because there's another lady that's like, it's heartbreaking what they're doing to these, what I feel like they're going to be doing to these people, and they're making it so hard on them to just live life. You know, it's hard enough in this country and in any country around the world to just financially live life and to survive, and to do this to people when they've already found a different way to live a life in a different way, but they're still surviving. Why would we want to criminalize these people? Because they found an out. Rich people find an out all the time, right? They find all the loopholes on how to not pay taxes and for their own survival and to enrich themselves. And it's quite okay for them to do that. But when regular people, middle-class people, we find loopholes on how to survive in this system and the way they have it set up, oh no, can't do that, right?
Right.
Can't do that.
So what does this mean for us? Well, the pressure's already on. Cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Denver are increasing parking restrictions. You've probably seen it. No more overnight parking signs, fewer and fewer places to park at night. San Francisco just enforced a 2-hour parking rule. They have a program where they want to buy back people's RVs. I'm not really sure where they're supposed to go. I'm not really sure how buying back their RV and now they have nothing to live in really helps if you're trying to keep people off the street.
Right. How does that make any sense to say, I'm going to buy back your home that you live in, and now where are they going to go?
Well, it makes perfect sense if that's the plan. If that's the plan to really get these people to be homeless with nothing.
Right. And also push them into a state of helplessness, hopelessness. And what do people do when they're helpless and hopeless?
Right.
They do drugs.
Yeah.
They drink, and they become useless people to society. So everything they're doing, everything they're offering, which is nothing in my opinion, it's like you said, it's to push them to live on the streets so they can just come and collect them and send them
Who knows
wherever.
where?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm. It's crazy.
Here's what keeps me up at night. My husband and I got into van life because rent was too expensive. We initially started out with no other option than to live in our 2000.
I'm scared about this because it's got music, so I'm
I was
gonna
gonna
skip
say,
out.
is she playing music? I thought I
Yes.
was hearing things.
No music. Well, you guys
Uh,
get the gist of it. You get the
yeah.
gist of all of this. Okay, and with our concerns on where they're going to put these people, there's another video I want to share from PBS that kind of talks about these things and gives us an idea of what the administration wants to do with these people.
President Trump's order lays out his goal clearly. He wants to move more people who are homeless into long-term institutions and hospitals, including involuntarily. He also plans a dramatic shift in federal funds, away from programs that place people into housing first and instead pushing for tougher, immediate requirements for treatment. Homeless rates have been steadily rising since 2017. A federal count found that more than 770,000 people were living in shelters or outside on a single night last year.
It's been rising since 2017. I want to bring this point up because Trump was in office first term during that time, right? So if we have all the mega people who are wondering where we can point the fingers or whatever, I'm just saying it says it was rising during that time. And it says that there's more than 770,000 that are living in shelters or outside. That's crazy to me. How did we let it get to that point? How did they
Yeah.
let it get to this point?
And
Wh-
I
wh-
would say the majority is on the street. It says or outside. They're on the street because there are very few shelters and they keep on shutting them down.
Right. And again, who gets to decide who is mentally ill and is forcefully put in mental institutions? Who gets to
Yeah.
decide that? Let's say someone has maybe been dealing with depression or somewhere on their record, and we'll get into that because that's where Trump's for the digital tracking of all of our health stuff comes into play. Because
Exactly.
once you sign away your privacy to your health, now they have everything out there and they can look at all that stuff and just say, oh, looks like back in 2010 you were on antidepressant medication. Maybe you're now living in a van. We might consider you have issues. We need to send you to a
Right.
mental institution. You see?
I think you're spot on with that. That's where this is going. Yeah. You're spot on.
For more on this latest executive action and what it may mean, I'm joined by David Ovalle, national reporter focusing on opioids and addictions for the Washington Post. There is a great deal in this order, David. First, does President Trump have the power to either encourage or tell states that they need to put more people in institutions, even involuntarily?
Well, no, not specifically, and that's one of the interesting things about this order is that they're really trying to incentivize and push states into doing this. Remember, states set their particular laws, they set their criteria for how they handle involuntary commitments. So really, this is a state issue, but the federal government certainly has a lot of sway, and they can, for example, in the executive order, they talk about prioritizing grants for states that or jurisdictions that comply with this order and crack down on open air drug use and other things to combat quote unquote vagrancy on streets. So certainly,
And the sad thing too is that I don't feel like the government really cares about any of these people. They just want to get
no.
rid of them, which also
Yeah.
goes hand in hand with you start to think of what happened during COVID and what they had everyone do with the Pope. And
Right.
it starts to make you think, that was part of culling of some of these people that they
That's
really
right.
don't want to deal with. They just want to, or like you said, it's a financial business opportunity. That's
Yeah.
big money right there. You know?
I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that there's a depopulation plan. um, in
Oh, for sure.
place.
And weren't
Yeah.
you saying that you know someone that this is also concerning, that once you are having some kind of mental health help, you have your therapist, you have your psychiatrist. Didn't you say that you heard that they're recording or now asking to record these
Yeah.
conversations?
Re- they want to record the sessions now, and it just makes me very wary. Like I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't do it if that was me.
Right. It makes you wonder, why would they do that? Why do they want to record what you're telling your therapist? So they can
Right.
use it against you down the
Exactly.
road, you know? Like
It's
I
scary.
wouldn't trust any. Yeah, it is. It's very scary. Let's go. I want to go to the next clip. I don't really if more people want to, this is a very good clip from PBS. If more people want to listen in on this, it's a 6-minute video. I'll put the link in our description. You guys can watch the whole thing. I do feel like he brings up a lot of great points. I feel like Trump is trying to make it seem like, oh, we're trying to get all the scary people off the streets, the druggies, the people that are violent. And yeah, that is scary. And yeah, nobody wants to deal with that. But I think, like you and I keep saying, I think it's way more than that. There's an ulterior motive here. It's not just about protecting us from violence, violent people and junkies, you know?
Exactly.
So
And like, this is how they get people to do things, like the states to do things. They incentivize it. So it becomes money in their pocket. So as long as they comply, they're going to get some kind of grant or whatever. And
right.
that's how
And
stuff gets
and
done.
it's funny because where is this money coming from? I want to share this too
Oh,
in the
it's
future.
funny money.
Yeah, it's like monopoly money because they
Exactly.
seem to have the money they need to do these crazy things, but yet they also tell us they're trillions of dollars in debt, you know? So how are
Hmm.
you having the money to give to these states? And I know that it also comes back to us. We give them our money. And you made a joke today when we were talking. Why don't we
Mm.
just start giving the government monopoly money? Seeing that when we pay our taxes every year, when we have to pay in, here you go. Because that's what they're doing. What do? They just print out money whenever they, on willy-nilly, whenever they want to, right?
Yeah,
And they criminalize people who, let's say you print out your money. Oh, that's bad. We're gonna send you to jail, but the government can do it, no problem. They can
right.
print money whenever they want to. Same with
It's an
drugs.
endless supply.
Yeah, you can't sell drugs. That's against the law, but the government can do it, right? It's
Yeah,
like, what?
yeah. I mean, look at
Ugh.
Big Pharma. I mean, this is like a major reason why people are they switch from one drug because they're being given very addictive substances.
Mhm.
And then some people get really addicted and go outside the pharmaceutical
Right. And a lot
industry.
of times it's a cycle. So they get you on one drug, that drug
Yeah.
creates more symptoms, then you got to get on a drug for those symptoms, and then those symptoms it's just endless. And that's like pretty
Hmm.
much the whole plan, is either to keep you on an endless supply of drugs, or in some cases just with certain medications that they poke you with. So like,
Right.
you really can't win with the government or trusting the government or the establishment whatsoever, because the entire society from top down is set up to have us all fail and be in this, like
Yeah.
I said, modern slavery, or using the digital stuff like social credit scores, which we'll be talking about that. I have videos here that I want to share on that, but I do want to circle back and show there is another van lifer. Her name is Bunny, and she shares, my heart was going out to her when I was watching this video because she was in tears, because some people might say, well, don't park your, here's, solve the problem. Don't park your van, don't park your RV in the city. Go to a campsite, or go, somewhere off, farther away off in the country or something, and go there. Well, these public lands that are considered, well, should be considered public lands for people,
Yeah.
they're literally taking that away from the people now. And so I want to
Yep.
show you this video with Bunny. She goes here every year, and this last time she was there, she came there and realized, oh my gosh, they've literally destroyed this whole piece of land, so we can't come and park here. Ugh, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's depressing.
Yeah, they're literally taking away every option for people and places you can go. And if you don't
Hmm.
do what they want you to do and live where they want you to live, what are they gonna do? They're just gonna throw us all in these encampments or something. Yeah, her YouTube channel is Bunny and Beyond Van Life. And the one we're going to be covering is they're closing public lands fast, and here's what they won't tell us.
It's weird that you wouldn't feel that connection to the earth. It's weird that humans have been so disconnected for so long that they don't feel the pain when a tree is cut down. But I know a lot of nomads who've been out here for a long time do.
And that road, they've just tore it up. They just dragged me across it. Now it's brush covered. And that tree, that stump that gave us so much shade, it was a big, magnificent pine tree. This hurts my heart so much. They just ripped out these trees so people wouldn't camp here. The fact that they just clear cut these beautiful, healthy trees just so people can't camp. Look at how tore up they.
Oh, my heart goes out to her. So they literally took this camp area that it was a public piece of land that these people were allowed to camp on for free for many, many years before then. And they literally came through and bulldozed down the land and cut down perfectly healthy trees. So, and then put those no camping signs all over the place. And if you watch the video, she actually contacts the city and asks, why are you doing this stuff? And they tell her, which sounds like a lie to me, but they tell her that someone was allegedly bulldozing down the area, and they ruined it for everyone else. But that doesn't make any sense, because if someone else was bulldozing the area, why did they go and bulldoze all of it then? If you're literally
that doesn't
telling
make
me that.
sense. And I would
No.
say this is probably going to happen everywhere.
Right. Right. And here we have our tax dollars that we pay for these public lands. And I have heard that they are selling them. The Trump administration, they're collecting up these public lands and they're selling them for probably fossil fuels. Or whatever they think
Really?
that's on
They're
the
selling
land.
them to like corporations?
Yes, this is what a lot of these, if you look into that, a lot of the van lifers are shouting it from the rooftop that there is more going on here where they are
Okay.
buying up the land and selling
This
them.
is making sense because once again, carbon
Tax or the carbon collecting, where you were
the
telling me
carbon
that
collection
they're collecting
and
the carbon.
BlackRock once again.
Yes. I think she actually talks about it in that first video I shared,
Oh, wow.
the bamboozler one. If you watch the rest of the video, I think she covers the information about, okay, so they tell us to do this and they tell us to do that, but they're selling the land. They're buying it up and selling it. And this is supposed to be public land that's technically, I mean, we the taxpayers should be, we're like giving, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
These places that are supposed to be beautiful public places that should be protected always. And I don't see that happening in the future. I see them selling them up to like take away as much as they can out of them, just suck them dry for fossil fuels or whatever, you know?
I think you're right.
I mean, this is crazy, and people need to really be asking these questions. There is another one. I have a final one that I want people to go watch her video, because she covers the whole executive order and kind of explains in a nutshell what is all taking place too. I'm just going to share this real quick. This lady here, and her YouTube channel is Glorious Life on Wheels. And the video is Executive Order Could End Van Life and Make Nomads Criminals.
Executive order. And the title of it, from what I could determine, is Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. Based on what I read, it appears the focus of the executive order is to outlaw and disband any homeless encampments throughout the country, particularly in urban areas. But the thing that's disturbing to me is how it's set forth to do this in the executive order. For the last decade or more, the philosophy in this country in dealing with those that are homeless has been housing first initiatives. In other words, the thinking was, if you have people who are living on the streets, your first priority was to get them housed, to get them off the streets and into safe, and secure housing with a roof over their heads. Then, if they had other issues that needed to be dealt with, such as substance abuse or mental health issues, you started working on those only after you had them housed. Well, from what I can gather and what it states in the new executive order, that's no longer going to be the case. Now, the focus is going to be on mental health and substance abuse and treatment for that. And based on the executive order wording, it appears that the assumption is that everyone, or the majority rather, I should say, of people on the streets either have substance abuse issues or mental health issues. One of the ways they're planning to disband homeless encampments is not just to go after people who are living in tents or who are living under overpasses or things like that. Based on the wording of this executive order, they're also going to be going after people who are parking overnight while they sleep in their vehicles. And that's van life, folks, and nomads.
Yeah, see, and she covers that. She even covers like that she's been noticing parking, no parking signs, and how it's very written very specifically at the nighttime hours when a person would be sleeping in their
Yeah, no
vehicle.
overnight. Like they're
Yeah,
cracking down on the overnight parking
yes.
specifically. Yeah.
And the other thing I liked about it, if you continue to watch the whole thing, she brings up what we brought up. She wants to know if these Alcatraz encampments
Mm,
are going to be used for the homeless. She's like, are they going to send us there? She's thought the same thing. So people are connecting the dots. I was like, yes, that's exactly what they'll probably do is once that they've dealt with the illegal immigrants, they're going to deal with us in the same way. And that's why
right.
we're shouting from the rooftops. Even the last episode, we're like, you guys should not be cheering this stuff on
Mm-mm.
at
Everybody
all.
should be talking about this because we all need to care about this. This is like serious,
Serious stuff
really
that
dark
that affects
stuff.
all of us. And it's
Yeah.
only going to get worse unless people, and this is why we're here. We're not saying there's no hope. What we're saying is the hope does not happen if we all are sitting in the dark and think that people like Trump and our
Mm-hmm.
government is going to help us because this is a global thing. This is happening in the
Yeah.
UK, in Australia, too. It's not
Yeah,
just
and
here.
sitting back and cheering it on, not just like sitting back, but cheering it on like it's a good thing. No, wake up.
Right.
You're
It's
sleeping.
insane. It's insane. So this all goes hand in hand with what I was telling you with the digital health. So let's cover that real
Okay, good.
quickly with what he said on
Yeah.
that. Okay, so here we have a video of Trump for this digital health tracking. And I've kind of been, I don't know about you, but I've been kind of like blowing the whistle on this on my Facebook and telling people, hello, COVID really ramped this up. We shouldn't be encouraging. I mean, I remember when they had the app on your phone to track people if they had COVID. Do you remember that? That
Yeah.
insanity? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that I felt like was a big part of the trying it out, see how people would accept it or not. And now you fast forward and you've got people like Bamboozler Bobby, RFK Jr. That's why I call him Bamboozler
Mm.
Bobby because he's bamboozling everybody just like Trump is. And then you got Dr. Oz up there and they're all in on this. Oh, we need to track and digitally. This will make it easier. Again, it's always about convenience. They tell everyone this will be so convenient. We'll have all your stuff in one place. And so when you go to your doctor's appointments, it'll be so easy for you. When all in my mind, I'm always thinking, okay, you're making it easy for people to go to the various doctors and have all their stuff in one place. But my question is this: why is that the solution when the solution should be helping people get out of doctors' offices?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They have
Right.
everyone so sick and so connected to big pharma that instead of being like, hey, let's figure out why is everyone so sick and let's reverse course on that. No. They just want to make it easier so now all your healthcare information, your billions of pills and all your information for everything is all in one place. Thank you for not helping anyone with anything. So here, let's listen a little bit here where he's talking about it.
But with today's announcement, We take a major step to bring healthcare into the digital age, something that is absolutely vital. You got to do it.
Oh yeah, it's so
Moving
vital.
from clipboards and fax machines into a new era of convenience, profitability.
Oh, another thing is these things that they do for us, or they act like these things are so important, so vital. Okay, let's talk about the ballroom real quick that Trump is implementing, that he's going to build this
Mm.
golden ballroom, spending millions of dollars or what have you. Did anyone ask for that? Did anyone say we need a bigger ballroom for the elites and the politicians and the puppet president to have a place to entertain other puppet politicians from other countries? No, they didn't. More wasting of all the money that allegedly we don't have the money, but yet the money's there. Somehow they can print the money.
Yeah,
And
it's all fake.
right. But that's so vital, right? To have a ballroom. It's very vital. So
Yeah.
vital.
So stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And speed and, frankly, better health for people. Under the leadership of Administrator Oz, we're officially launching the CMS Digital Health Tech.
I love how he calls Dr. Oz Administrator Oz. I mean, they give these
Yeah.
people these fancy names like they're so important.
Ecosystem to give healthcare providers, insurers, and software companies the tools they need to empower Americans with a 21st century experience on health. The key breakthrough we've made is getting many of the biggest names in the healthcare and technology to agree to industry-wide standards for electronic medical records. All of those great companies that you just heard have gotten together with this group of very brilliant people. I don't know who's more brilliant.
Wait, what great companies? Palantir, Oracle, these, you know what I mean? The way he talks, Apple, Google, all these companies tracking everything we do and say on the internet and censoring us too. We've talked about this before. Palantir is the whole Minority Report before they do a crime. I mean, this is where we're headed, and these are
Yeah.
these same companies that are going to have access to all of our health files.
Right.
Let that sink in for a second.
No, it's huge.
Oh, and let's see what he's saying. Is he patting his own back here, or whose ass is he about to kiss right now?
Them or them, I don't know. Could be them. I hate to tell you. It could very well be them. But I don't know. I'm going to take my team. But the key breakthrough we've made is getting many of the biggest names in healthcare and technology to agree to that those standards of electronic medical records that we talk about and you've heard about for so many years, and now it's happening. This will allow patients to easily transmit information from one doctor to another, even if they're different networks and using different record-keeping systems. No matter what system they use, they're all transferable. The new standards will also make it simple for patients to access their own personal health records. I don't want to see mine, please. I don't want to see. I don't.
Oh, I
So
can't.
he doesn't want to use it, but we're going to be using it.
Right. Right. And again, the way he speaks about it, it's making it easier for us. It's
Yeah.
all about making things easy for us. That's all it is. I mean, Daddy Trump, he just wants to make everything easy on us. He doesn't,
Yeah.
it's not about them track and tracing and having all of our information on file and be able to use that against us anytime they want to. No, it's not about
No.
that. That's a conspiracy.
Couldn't be.
Totally.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah. It's crazy. And what's crazy is that we need everybody to see this, because unless we all fight back on this, it's happening. And that leads us to the next thing. Okay, so this goes hand in hand with tracking and tracing all of us, because this is YouTube and other various social media platforms who are now saying they're protecting children, and they're going to have a ban against, I think it's 16 and under, to use YouTube and various other things on the internet, which to me sounds like a bunch of hogwash, because if they really cared about the children, they would release the Epstein files. They
Yeah.
would hold Trump accountable. They would not have moved GM Ghislaine Maxwell into a less secure facility. They would have
Right.
more people in prison for this, right? This this
Exactly.
doesn't, how can you say you're trying to protect children as you're allowing pedophiles to roam freely in every country? Because again, this is
Right.
not America issue. It's happening in the UK. It's happening in Australia. It's happening all over. And people that are using their critical thinking, we're not buying it that you care about our children. And also, it's none of your business. These are our children. You can't tell us what they can watch on YouTube. You're not their parents. So to have the government and these different multiple corporate places taking control over what our children are allowed or not allowed to see on the internet, excuse me, but no. This to me, and the quartering will talk about this, but and then we'll talk about it afterwards, but we all know what this really is. It's about being a digital prisoner. Them wanting us, we can no longer be anonymous because now what's going to happen? We have to prove who we are on the internet. What are they going to want?
There
They're
you
going to our
go.
government issued ID because they got to know if it's a kid or not, right?
Exactly.
That's
Ultimately, it's about controlling, having to control who's on the internet, and knowing what you're looking at and where you're going, all kinds of things, what you're buying. It's going to be everything.
right. And again, you're no longer going to be anonymous. So if you are someone who has an anonymous something or other
Right.
on the internet, you won't be allowed to do that anymore. Because and why is that? Because if you're anonymous and they implement all of this digital tracking and like it looks like we're headed in the same direction as China with the social credit score. It's all
Mhm.
about like if you're a bad citizen or you say the wrong thing, right? Then they can just shut you down, whether they shut your YouTube channel down or they shut down your any various social media. They could even make it where you can't even buy groceries because they shut down your bank account. This is where we're
Exactly.
headed. This is how serious this is. So let's listen a little bit to what the quartering has to say
Mhm.
because he's pretty outraged by it too, and rightfully so, just like we are.
Is important. YouTube has now been thrown into, and I assume every other video platform has been now thrown into the list of applications that will be banned for anyone under the age of 16. Now, you might think, well, who cares? I think social media is bad for young people, and I agree with you. I think, however, this needs to be mitigated, litigated, enacted in the household by the parents, not the government. And what's happening is
Thank you.
in 3 different nations right now, Australia, kind of the tip of the spear. What's happening in Australia right now, you can expect to be in Europe in a month or 2, and then in the United States in 6 months. There are
Right, because again, it's global, people. They are doing it everywhere. They hate everyone. It's us versus them. We have to keep I feel like we have to get this point across because people aren't always getting the fact that it's affecting all of us. So we need to stand united with Canada. We need to stand united with Australia, UK, you name it. It's literally us as citizens against the government and also who's running the government because we all know the government's just like a pit bull for the elites. Do you agree with
Right.
that?
And definitely. And, I know people don't like to hear the words New World Order, but this is what this is the reset. This is the New World Order coming in.
Right. Or like the
Total
Christians like to
control.
call it, the Jubilee. Okay.
Mm,
Because that's another thing you and I have been seeing that people are getting tricked into agreeing to this great reset because they keep repackaging it and acting like it's something different.
something
Right?
good.
Right.
Mm,
Even now with the whole Epstein file thing, they are literally saying that if they release the Kraken, that it could collapse the economy. But
mm,
in reality, I think they're already collapsing the economy and it's
mhm.
already bound to happen. And they're going to have to push this Jubilee or this great reset and say, but we need it. It's for you guys. We have to reset everything. Right?
Mhm.
But
Exactly.
it's all
Yep.
part of that. So great point bring up the New
100%.
World Order because that made me think of all the other things that tie into it.
varying forms of each bill in each nation that I need to go through because this is how the government is going to enact digital ID and ultimately social credit score. If that
Right. And speaking of the digital ID, we need to push back on that as well. I don't know if people are familiar. I think I brought her up a couple times in our podcast, but Peggy Hall from the Healthy American, she does a whole segment on the digital ID and how you can push back on that, because the real ID, the digital ID, where they're pushing everyone to have a real ID. Okay, because that all of this is connected. Like, you
Yep.
have to connect the dots, and there are loopholes and ways around it, especially seeing as we have the majority. We the people, I don't care if it's in America, in Australia, or UK, or any of these places, we have the majority. So if we don't comply and we say no, I don't want to be a part of any of this, they can't do it. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to push back on all of this stuff. All of us,
Yeah.
not just Americans.
if you don't think that's how it is, please give me 12 minutes of your time to explain. First, YouTube has now been included in Australia's teen social media ban. Now you might be thinking, well, I don't live in Australia. Why do I care? Well, because it's the exact same legislation that's going on in the in the UK and Europe with the Online Safety Act, and in the United States with the Kids Online Safety Act, known as COSA. All of this stuff is going on at the same time.
Right. I think the COSA thing has to do with the Ohio thing I talked to you about. I have to look into it more, but I did learn that Ohio has already implemented it. So maybe that's what the COSA thing is he's talking about. And it's state by state. It's another one of those things where the federal government says, just like they did with abortion, they were like, oh, our hands are clean. It's a state by state issue. I think they're doing the same thing like they are with AlligatorAlcatrez. And I think they're doing the same thing now with this COSA thing, but then eventually it's going to slowly trickle and every state's probably going to do it in
Right. And
lockstep.
there'll be those incentives once again to do it. Yeah.
Correct. Yep. They always put the money, they dangle the money, the carrot out there.
Right now, globally. And when you start enacting, you're having big tech, have people's identifications to prove your ID, prove your age. We just saw that one app that got exposed with, 70,000 driver's license or whatever like that getting put out there. This is huge. Remember,
they've already kind of implemented it or started implementing. Like, I'll tell you, like when Elon Musk took over Twitter, I noticed almost immediately that he was pushing for asking for your government ID. They wanted your government ID. And I said, no, I didn't do it. But they're pushing it hard to the point where I think they're going to eventually get to a point where you won't be able to use the platform unless you give your government ID. Also, YouTube. You and I both noticed with YouTube, if you want to use certain features on YouTube and you're maybe a new YouTube creator, they don't allow you to use those unless you prove who you are with showing some kind of form of ID, or you have to be on the platform for X amount of months, but they don't tell you how long that you need to have the time on there. They just say, oh, just keep making content and prove that you're a real person, but they don't give you any kind of finish line as to where it ends.
It keeps popping up like the same thing. Like, oh, share your ID. They really want you to upload that ID.
Yeah, this also too with your facial recognition. I notice that everywhere, even my emails. My email, you just supposed to, you put your password in, you go to your email. All these places are pushing, oh, do you want to do a facial recognition for every single thing? And as we know, phones are doing that now too. It used to be where you could just put your password in, then it went to your thumbprint. Now it's your face. And I have avoided all of that. I still don't use my face on any of that stuff because I think it's crazy that they're making people or trying to push you, they're herding the herd, the cattle in that direction.
Oh, yeah.
And before you know it, I don't think there will be a choice. I think your choices will be one of two things. You will either have to go along with it or you'll be forced out of society. Because nothing will function. Anything you do will all be connected to this digital ID to do just about everything. And if you choose not to go along with it, if enough people do go along with it, then you're going to be in the minority, forced out of society, living like a nomad in your van somewhere, trying to avoid, not being criminalized, parking in the wrong spot.
And like, if you put like the puzzle pieces together and you think about the movies that they've been showing us, right?
Oh, yeah.
That are programming us for this stuff, loading that digital ID, and then you're talking about cameras, putting cameras everywhere. And where are we? We're we're basically in China, where they zoom in on you on the street and then they pull up your ID and they know exactly who you are.
Right. I know. And Big Brother is watching literally everywhere. There is no safe place. There are cameras, like you just said, there are cameras everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way of getting around it unless you buy, I know, don't they have those kind of hoodies where you can have a hoodie where it has an LED, so like it doesn't get your people are there's ways to get around it. Like you can
Yeah.
wear something where it covers up your face, but even then a lot of these places, like, they got everyone so used to even wearing masks all through COVID, right? And now it's like, oh, take the mask down, that now you look like a criminal. Oh wait
Yeah.
a minute. So for 5 years we could wear a mask anywhere I wanted, and you had these lefty people who started to enjoy wearing masks. I don't know what their thought process is, but they've gotten so used to wearing a mask, and now they go into places and people are like, oh no, you can't do that anymore. It's
Yeah.
like you can't keep
Yeah.
up with all these
It's all a
things.
psychological operation, one after
Oh,
the other, and you can see the steps, step by step. Put the cameras in, then ask people for their IDs online. It
yes.
all adds up if you're
Right.
thinking.
And it's not that far-fetched to think that the long end game is to have some way where we're chipped in the brain or whatever it is, and have a
Oh yeah.
feed or whatever. Because I mean, think about this. I told you this the other day. They already are chipping our pets, right? They
Yeah,
have that
exactly.
feature where you can get your pet chipped so you don't
Mm-hmm.
lose your pet, because of course that's the idea they give you, because you don't want to lose your pet, and no one wants to lose their pet. But like, think about it. If they're chipping pets, who is next? Hmm?
Mm-hmm.
Something to
I
think
would
about.
say probably children, because that's the
Right, because
yeah,
they'll use that same thinking. You don't want to lose your child. That is,
right.
wow, yes. Yes, they're gonna you nailed it, because they're gonna use that fear that parents have. And in a sense, we're already kind of chipped because we all have our
Mm-hmm.
smartphones. And I
Yeah.
mean, we carry those things everywhere with us. It tracks everything we do, everything we shop. I mean, like, we're pretty much being tracked and traced now, but I'm just saying the end game is just to eventually go one step further, and just, who needs a phone when you can just have a chip in your brain and get access? There's a book, I think it's called The Feed or something, but
Mm.
I remember my son was reading it in middle school, and it was literally years ago. This book, I'll put it on the screen when the book is literally about what I'm talking about, where they eventually
Mm.
they chip everybody, and you literally can see your YouTube feed and everything in your head as you're going, and you see the ads, you see everything, and it's constantly 24/7 in your head going.
And that reminds me of that other movie about pre-crime.
Minority
What was it
Report.
called? Minority Report. Yeah, because that's another thing that they are doing. Like, they
With
already want to you know, predetermine who you are based on certain
ahead of time.
factors.
And that's
Yeah.
where Palantir comes in. They
Yep.
are part of pre-crime. They've already said it. This is not conspiracy. They are a part
Right.
of that. That's what they're doing. So
Exactly.
it's happening, people. But I mean, I feel like it's not too late to reverse course. It's not too late. It's not too late.
Right.
All right, let's see what else he has to say. 'Cause I just really felt like the quartering did a really good job with this video.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Definitely.
It says right here in America, same thing. Reject online censorship. Tell lawmakers to oppose COSA. COSA won't make the kids safe. Instead, it puts your youth in danger by preventing them from accessing resources they need. Concern about young people's harm from big tech are valid and real, but enabling censorship that harms the most marginalized kids. Again, the left and right are working together on this,
As they
but
always do.
the issue is
Mhm.
the same. The COSA bill in the United States,
Because they're both the same. And again, red versus blue is all an illusion that they're fighting each other, but they're always working together with the same agendas they're pushing forward.
Against
Right?
us.
Yes. Yep. And here he's talking about that COSA bill and why it's a bad bill.
will allow the government to pressure social media platforms to erase content that could be deemed inappropriate for people under the age of 18. The problem is there's absolutely no consensus on what exactly is inappropriate for them.
Yes, just like hate speech. Who gets to dictate what is hate speech? And that's just another excuse for them to censor us, right? If they just label everything hate
Absolutely.
speech. And this is the same thing with the COSA bill. Who gets to label what's inappropriate for children? I feel like parents should be the ones that are watching what their children do and label yes or no, and they can put their own parental controls on things. All the technology already has that ability that parents can just go on there and put a password and make that. Why do we need the government to do it? You
Yeah,
know?
we don't.
No.
All across the country, we're seeing how lawmakers are going after young people's access to gender affirming healthcare. No, I don't support any of that. Kids should not be going for that. But again, this is the left saying, but this is for LGBT. But on the right, you have to understand COSA as well. Look at Spotify right now. We need to check your age. To access certain contents on Spotify, we need to make sure you're 18 or older.
I didn't know Spotify was already doing that. Did you? Did you
No.
know that? Yeah,
No.
I guess I missed that part.
One of the best accounts to follow is Reclaim the Net, because they're always on the first and foremost on that. 1 hour ago, France is criminally investigating X. Prosecutors want access to the platform's algorithm and real-time data, citing complaints about Musk's ownership and alleged bias for content mediation.
Right. And I felt that way from the beginning with Twitter. When Elon bought Twitter, I never felt like he was buying it for freedom. I always felt like he was buying it
No.
for our information. Because just like
Yeah.
like Trump's a businessman, so is Elon. And
Exactly.
it was a business opportunity to be a part of the cog, to be a part of the machine where he could access very important information, which is our data, right? It's our data. They think that's so important. They want to know everything we're doing. And so that's why he bought Twitter, you know? So I think, we showed a lot about what the quartering. I think people should go watch this video themselves. He brings up a lot of good points on everything that's going on, and he pretty much sounded an alarm, which is like really refreshing to see
Yeah.
people sounding the alarm and seeing things like you and I are seeing, and it's nice not feeling like we're so alone in this whole digital plan to literally enslave us through digital. I mean, I've been frustrated since COVID happened and being censored all the time on my Facebook and all my other platforms. And you have to literally speak in code. How did we get here? And how did people get so complicit in being okay with getting here? Oh, and speaking of that, during COVID, another way that I feel like they, had us divided and distracted against each other is, I remember distinctly, I don't know if you saw this, but you probably did because you see things like I see things, but they literally had the Republicans or the right side thinking that big tech was targeting them and censoring them. And at the same time, the left was saying the same thing. No, they're targeting us. No, they're targeting us. And I was over here going, they're targeting both of you.
Everybody. Yeah.
Everybody. It's like,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
another ploy that they used during that time to keep us all divided and distracted. I just wanted to bring that point up because I remember that happening, and it's like, they're still doing it, guys. They're still playing us against each other. But
Yeah.
you and I both like the YouTube channel. I think it's called Truth Stream, right? Okay, I want to share a couple of things that she's put out. There's 3 separate things
So
I want to
good.
share. So good that I want to share
Yeah.
from her. Hold on. She and her husband, I think, right? I think it's a couple who run this YouTube channel. It's called Truth Stream Media. This particular video that I just want to share, I'm not going to really play a whole bunch. I'm going to press play and show you that this has been in the works for a long, long time. She opens this book called Cato's Letters. Okay. And in this letter, it literally specifies the same playbook of keeping us distracted, divided, keeping us in a state of chaos and fighting amongst each other in order to, in essence, control us at every angle. So I really want people to go and watch this video because she covers it. I don't want to sit here and cover it. It's 21 minutes that she covers, and it's kind of a long letter that she reads, but I just think it's fascinating that there are people that still think that this isn't all been planned out for like hundreds of years. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep.
Like, this has been going on for a long time. Saying history repeats itself is accurate, and it's no different in what we're seeing right now, So she pretty much covers this whole letter. And then the other thing I wanted to share that I thought she did that was phenomenal is she did this whole video. It's about 45 minutes long, where she covers the financial report of the United States government for 2024. And let me just say this. Not only does she direct you where to access the report so you can read it yourself, because obviously you and I have always said, don't take our word for it. Go do your own research and look it up yourself. But after reading it, what she comes to the conclusion of is what you and I have already been speculating, that all of this is a joke, that
Yeah.
they make up whatever. They make up numbers, they make up information, sort of like what they did during COVID with the ticker, just putting the numbers on the screen. They're
Yep.
doing the same thing with the financial report. So I highly recommend people go watch this video and go look up this financial report, because you will find out that, as the government says, there are trillions of dollars in debt. They literally have nothing to back up these records of anything they say. And yet at the same time, they somehow always find the money to push through terrible things on us.
Yeah, and she says it in the video, which is something that I've always said. It's the money doesn't even really exist anymore. It's just a bunch of numbers on the screen at this point.
Right.
That's what it is.
Right. Like
Just
it's
a bunch of
one
digits.
Yeah, because it used to be when they were, because now you know how they're pushing the cashless society. So we're getting to an era where, again, it's all going to be digital, right? Because they can
Mhm.
easily control us and be digital slaves. Well,
Right.
it used to be where they could just print off money, a bunch of paper money, right? Like monopoly money. Well, now
Mhm.
if they're not going to be using cash anymore, it's just a bunch of ones and zeros. So they can just go into a computer somewhere and just hack in, or you know what I mean? Like
Bloop.
it's sort of like yes, it's sort of like a hacker just saying, oh, add a couple zeros to that.
Exactly. Just transfer.
That's where we're
I
at.
don't know.
They're able to do these things like it's nothing. Just boop, change it real quick, and all of a sudden now everything changes, and now we're going by this different way in our history. It's like it seems pretty Matrix simulation like to me. How about
Yeah,
you?
it's all lies. Everything
Mhm.
is a lie.
Yeah. And so I want to play a video of her actually talking for a few minutes, because I really like what she had to say in this other one here. It's her thoughts on where we're going with this whole digital slavery type journey we're on. And she calls the video, Give Me Cognitive Liberty or Give Me Death.
For over a decade, we've been slowly watching this system rise up all around us, and we've been describing the digital chains. And for the last 10 years, it has only gotten worse. And it feels like everybody's just walking off into this. Like there's just nothing we can do. It's all hopeless. We have no choice. And this future that's being built, who is it even for? Children who can't read or think without machines, art and movies and music that is just absolute soulless AI slop, lonely, disconnected humans trapped in online echo chambers, talking to and being programmed by bots. It's such an empty, impoverished wasteland of nothing, just nothing. Who does that even appeal to? Besides people who want to use it for control. We don't have to just do this. We don't have to do this.
Right. See, and I love that message. We don't have to do this. We have a choice.
Yeah.
We don't have to just go blindly like zombies walking through like whatever. We just got to do it. No, we don't. We have a choice. And I like that. I love her channel. I love the message that she portrays, and I absolutely 1000 agree with her.
Yeah, me too. And like, you can put those puzzle pieces together again. This is why they've been conditioning us with religion and stuff, and to dumb us down and to get us to not think about these things,
Yep.
to lead us into this. But we don't have to follow their rules.
Right. And it's like the walls are closing in on us, and if we continue down this path, they will close altogether. But there is still light at the end of the tunnel. There still is a way out of this, but we've got to push back, and we have to stop complying. We can't do what we did during COVID by just
Right.
following what they told us to do, walking on the little stickers and, you know, putting the mask on. No. We have to push back this time. It's the only way. So I want to circle back and talk a little bit more about the Trump Epstein shenanigans that we're seeing on the world stage, because I have a few things I wanted to share about that. And we got, you know, it's hard not to get caught up in the digital slavery part of what we were discussing, because it's to me, it's, at least for me, it's very triggering, because we see these things happening, and it's just like that Black Mirror episode where the girl's trying to pump gas and she can't pump gas into her car because she hasn't received enough likes, so she's got her scores too low.
Yep.
Right. How they tell us in plain sight where we're headed, that kind of thing. So it's hard not to get really upset about that. But I want to talk about the Trump Epstein thing, because I feel like people still need to be aware that there is so much damning evidence against Trump that's now being resurfaced. Like, one of them is from this YouTuber, it's Holy Kool-Aid. I really like, he did this whole episode. It was about 27 minutes long, and it says everything they're desperately hiding about Epstein and Trump. And I highly recommend people go watch it, because even though I don't agree with everything he believes, because he does seem to be like he's pushing the paradigm of left versus right, and, you know, somehow he must think Democrats are different, which I always think is nuts. But I do agree with a lot of things he's saying, and he's bringing up really good points and showing the receipts for who Trump is. It's just too damning not to share. And at this point, I don't know how anyone can make excuses for Trump at all at this point, you know?
At least 26 women have accused Trump of sexual misconduct going all the way back to the late 1970s. Non-consensual kissing, groping, assault, and even rape. E. Jean Carroll even proved it in court and was awarded $5 million when a judge ruled that Donald Trump had in fact raped her. And when he appealed the case, she won the appeal.
What is the best thing about being Donald Trump right now? Well, other than the fact I'm married, okay? Right. And I'm very happily married. I have a great wife. But if I weren't married, I'd be able to get all of the girls I want, except for possibly Robin.
Do you think you could now be banging 24-year-olds?
Oh, absolutely. I have no trouble.
Would you do it?
I have no problem.
Yeah, do you have an age limit, or would you?
No, I have no age. I mean, I have an age. I don't want to be
the
like
upper bracket,
Foley with 12-year-olds.
Trump himself bragged to Howard Stern about walking into teenage beauty pageants.
Right, that's coming up. But like the fact that he just said he literally said he had no age limit, and then kind of like backpedaled and said, well, not 12-year-olds.
He caught himself there.
Okay, but anything over 12, so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that's okay? Is that what I'm hearing, Trump? I don't know how to take that, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay, so now he talks about the beauty
Freudian
pageant.
slip, right? Freudian slip.
Yeah, exactly. And now he talks about the beauty pageants and discussing things he would do when he was running his beauty pageants. Ugh.
Yeah.
Changing rooms where girls were half naked. He laughed about it, and they said that it was his obligation to sample the goods.
You own this pageant, you go over, you're meeting the girls and stuff. One of them comes up to you and says, Mr. Trump, you're a very sexy man.
You're a beautiful man, you have fantastic hair.
Well, you're a powerful man. Right? Right? You're a powerful man.
Right.
I want to sleep with you. Now, you're not the type that would say no.
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
Right. No, but I mean, you see a beautiful woman, you want to have that. You're a guy who likes to have everything, right?
Well, couldn't that be construed, however, as
conflict?
Yes.
I don't see it as a conflict.
It could be a conflict of interest, but it's the kind of thing you worry about later.
Oh, I see.
You tend to think about the conflict a little bit later on.
The question is, how can it not be construed?
No, I mean, some of these foreign girls, Mr. Trump, in my country, we say hello with vagina. And
what you could also say is the owner of the pageant, it's your obligation to do that.
So you have done that. Now,
I'll tell you the funniest is that I'll go backstage before a show.
Yes.
And everyone's getting dressed and ready and everything else. And, no men are anywhere. And I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant, and therefore I'm inspecting it. I'm inspecting. I want to make sure that
you're like
everything
a doctor.
is good.
You're there.
Yeah, the dress. Is everyone okay? They're standing there with no clothes. Is everybody okay? And you see these incredible looking women. And so I sort of get away with things like that.
And countless beauty.
It's disgusting. It's and listening to Howard Stern, it reminds me of how gross he is too. back
Mhm.
when he was really popular and everybody was listening to him, the things he would say, it's just grotesque. And the fact that Trump even went on there to talk to him, I'm sorry, but it all
Multiple times.
birds of a feather flock together. They all interact and they think it's just so funny. And here's the other thing I want to point out, that because I know people have said, well, you know, girls throw themselves at Trump. Well, here's the thing, and that's what Trump has pretty much said, right? Just because you can do it doesn't mean you should do it. So just because a woman throws herself at you doesn't mean you should take advantage of that woman or do that to a woman. You know, it's like you're old enough to know better. I mean, Trump is old enough, even in this interview with Howard Stern, to be almost like a dad image. And you should have the maturity and the respect for women enough to be like, hey, why are don't act like that? I could be your dad. I could be your
Yeah.
dad. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Well,
just
we
it's
already know about him and his daughter, so.
right. That's a whole nother thing. Right. It's
Yeah.
it's gross. And that's also where Katie Johnson had said that when she was allegedly assaulted by him, she had said that the reason Trump was interested in her was because she was 13 at the time. His daughter was 13, and she looked like his daughter. That's just
Mhm.
what?
So skeevy.
Disgusting. And so all these people probably do. I mean, like, we already know Biden's daughter, her diary came out and it said that her and her dad were taking showers together. So it's like, I think they all do it, don't you? It's a
Oh,
possibility.
totally. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're all
Mhm.
just gross. Just gross people. Before I go forward too, I want to mention that on this video, he does share a clip of the Katie Johnson deposition. I don't want to share it because it clearly has like messaging on it or like some about copyright or something. And I'm steering way clear from that after what we were what I've gone through with last week's episode and having
Yeah.
the copyright strike. But so if people want to, I'm telling you, this video he has all the receipts. You got to watch it. So here's the next part of this. I think he has the next receipt, which is an actual person that was in one of the beauty pageants and her thoughts on him barging in to the room when she was changing.
Contestants confirmed this, describing how Trump would walk in while girls as young as 15 were half naked.
He just came strolling right in. There was no second to put a robe on or any sort of clothing or anything. Some girls were topless, other girls were naked. Our first introduction to him was when we were at the dress rehearsal and half naked changing into our bikinis.
They called it creepy, said it made them feel extremely uncomfortable, but they were encouraged to engage with Trump anyway.
To have the owner come waltzing in when we're naked or half naked in a very physically vulnerable position, and then to have the pressure of the the people that work for him telling us to go fawn all over him, go walk up to him. I'm
Gross.
telling you, Donald Trump owned the pageant for the reason to utilize his power to get around beautiful women. Who do you complain to? He owns the pageant. So there's no one to complain to. Everyone there works for him.
As far
Right. Exactly. I agree with
What a
her.
violation.
He did the pageants because he was able to do that.
Mhm.
I 100% agree with her. Just like he was all around models and things like that with Jeffrey Epstein for the same reason. For the same reason. And as you've pointed out in our previous podcast, models, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, they were very young. Models, you're old when you hit 25, 24, 25. So if Trump and Epstein were hanging out with quote unquote models in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, they were young girls, young girls. You can't get around that. Okay, so this next clip, this next receipt is Trump again on the Howard Stern show, a different time, I think, where Robin pretty much accuses him, maybe it's the same time, who knows, but accuses him of being a sexual predator, and they kind of laugh about it. Here it is.
Donald, seriously, you know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
You are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
Stacey Williams says that
He literally said, it's true.
And his daughter was sitting right there laughing.
Like it's no big deal. Goodness gracious. Seeing how he's just laughing there next to his daughter, like it's no big thing. and how inappropriate that whole thing is between his relationship with him and his daughter. There's some receipts here in this video that shows some of that and highlights that as well. So let's watch that real quick.
Aligns disturbingly closely with many of Trump's own statements sexualizing Ivanka.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Oh, it's so weird. What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
Oh, that was Hulk Hogan creepy.
My daughter is beautiful, Ivanka.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass.
Yeah.
She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous.
It's
She's tall.
unbelievable.
She's almost 6 feet tall.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Yeah, she's hot.
And in a 2015 Rolling Stone interview,
Oh,
What kind of a father would sit there and let someone say your daughter is a hot piece of ass?
right. I know. And I think he even talks about his other daughter. Let's see. I think it might be up
Yeah, he
right after
does.
this. And I think she was like 1 at the time or something.
he said, yeah, she's really something. And what a beauty, that one. If I weren't happily married and, her father. As well as his comments about his 1-year-old daughter, Tiffany.
Trump and then wife Marla Maples appeared on the TV show Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
And here's where we can remind people, he had said he would like to push this one
Yeah.
down the stairs. He wanted to push her, Mara Maples or whatever, down the stairs, but the other one ended up falling down the stairs. I mean, you can't make this stuff
Falling
up.
down the stairs and had stomach abrasions, which is weird.
Where could have been like some kind of, it sounds more like domestic abuse, if you ask me, or being pushed in the stomach, or maybe, I don't know. It's just, it all just seems very, very strange.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure.
Back in 1994, host Robin Leach asked about their daughter Tiffany, who was then just a year old.
And Donna, what does Tiffany have of yours and what does Tiffany have of Marla's?
Well, I think that she's got a lot of Marla. She's really a beautiful baby, and she's got Marla's legs. We don't know whether or not she's got this part yet, but time will tell.
He said this about this child here in 1992.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
Okay. How do you talk that way about a 1-year-old? Why would you be talking about her breasts at 1 year old? Okay. And then here you see this clip where a child goes up the escalator and says, I'm going to be dating her someday. Like, who thinks like that? Right?
Yeah, and that is obviously a baby that sounds like a 2 or 3 years old. So what, you're going to date her when she's 13 years old?
It's
Is that
just
what
gross.
you're saying?
It's just gross. Like,
So disgusting.
why are you even thinking that way? No matter what, even if the child was 5, 6, 7, why are you even talking about I'm going to date her someday when you could be these kids' fathers and grandpas? I don't.
It's not normal.
It's not normal. I think this next part he talks about Lindsay Lohan and the way they talk about Lindsay coming up here. It's just gross.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said this about Lindsay Lohan when she was still a teenager.
What do you think of Lindsay Lohan now? I think she's hot. There's something there, right? Yes. But you have to like freckles. I've seen a close-up of her chest. Yes. And a lot of freckles. Are you into freckles? If the father's a wreck, like the way he is. Right. You imagine the sex with this troubled? Yeah, you're probably right. She's probably deeply troubled and therefore great in bed. Back in the day. How come the deeply troubled women? Yes. Deeply troubled. Right. They're always the best in bed. If for some reason what I said is true, I mean, they're just unbelievable. I can tell from the... You don't want to be with them for the long term, but for the short term, there's nothing.
And this is all coming from the man who boasted that when you're rich, you can get away with anything.
Yeah, which is accurate. And then that takes us into, we've all seen this clip before, how he literally tells that he grabbed her in the where. I've covered that already. So it's just really, truly disturbing. Like even how he's talking about Lindsay Lohan and saying when they have lots of issues that they're the best in bed. Like, why are you talking like that? You're just disgusting.
And he's talking from experience, which is just so disgusting. Like,
yeah. And it's like he
Okay.
treats women like garbage. You just you use it and then you throw it out because he's like you don't
stay
stay with
them.
that person. You just use them sexually for whatever you want, and then you're just done. Who talks like that? A predator, someone who's
Right.
disgusting, someone who's a pig, someone who's
Right.
sick talks that way. Okay, so here we have the friendly reminder where Trump wishes her well, Ghislaine Maxwell, and also note on the screen. President Trump, if you're not able to socially distance, wear a mask. Just a friendly reminder that Trump pushed that bullshit too. Just remember that. Okay, here we go.
Ghislaine Maxwell is in prison. Do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
So make all of this what
I love how he acts like, I guess, or I don't know, I guess she lived over here when he knew damn well all this information. You know what I mean? He
Exactly.
always acts so like, I don't know, I guess I could pardon her. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Yeah,
Mhm.
right. Yeah, right. So I like his now he gives a final kind of statement. This guy, I don't even know his name from the Holy Kool-Aid, but I agree with what he's
don't
saying
either.
to a point. Yeah, he kind of sums it up here. Here we go.
you will, but to me at least, it's pretty damn clear what's going on. You have a convicted rapist and accused pedophile in the White House, and the Republican Party is defending him. They are never going to drain the swamp because they are the swamp. Every single accusation that they have made has been a projection. The call is coming from inside the White House. This is unmistakably the pedo part, and we need to keep hammering that. And
Okay, so I wanted to share that last part because I do agree with most of what he's saying, except for here's where I would change it. It's not just the Republicans, it is a uniparty of pedos,
Right.
not just one side. So
Yeah, I
that's my
agree.
only thing that I would change there is that I feel like once again people get a little confused and lost with this versus that. And it's like we all need to finally be on the same page with this people. And it's a uniparty and they're all in on it and they're all doing it. So you can't just blame Trump. They're all doing it. All of
Mhm.
them. Mhm. And then I'd like to friendly remind people of this little interaction, March 17th of 2010, when Jeffrey Epstein was asked this question.
Had a personal relationship with Donald Trump.
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
So why would he have to plead the 5th if Trump didn't do any of that stuff? He could have just said, oh, no, no, no,
Simple
no.
no.
Simple no.
Yeah.
Right? It's like guilty.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well said it, Epstein, because you'd said it without saying it.
So obvious.
Right. Okay, and then the next thing I want to share is how now the mainstream media is making it seem like, well, maybe Ghislaine Maxwell could be a victim.
This one kills me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right. Granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, and I know that's apparently not good, but she's in jail.
Wow. So apparently that's not good that she was hanging out with Epstein.
A rush to judgment, he said? Really?
Yeah. Right. Also, I find it interesting here in the comments. It should also be noted that Greg Kelly USA was accused of rape in 2012. He was never charged and the case was dismissed. His father was a police commissioner. Yeah, isn't this guy Greg Kelly right here? This
Oh, I don't
Newsmax
know.
guy?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think he's talking about this guy.
Or who's the guy next to him? The other
That's Todd Blanche. I'm glad you asked because that also is connected to Trump. Don't you think it's a conflict of interest that Todd Blanche was Trump's lawyer and now he is asking her questions? He's second in command. See, Todd Blanche, I looked into all of this. So Pam Bondi is the first in command AG, whatever, when it comes to Attorney General of our DOJ, right? Todd Blanche is second in command. So he has the second highest office when it comes to the DOJ. And he used to be Trump's lawyer, defensive lawyer. Now he is the one that's been put in place to ask Ghislaine Maxwell questions in an administration that pretends to be their most transparent administration in all of history. Yet Todd Blanche has so much ties to Trump, and they're not transparent because if they were transparent, they would allow us to go and watch this publicly, live stream all of this happening and asking her questions, right? There's no transparency. It's all
nothing.
being hidden from
Too
us.
many connections here. It's like you have to be really stupid to not be able to put that together.
Yep, they're all connected. Trump's connected to all of them, and then they're all connected somehow to Epstein, and around and around and around we go. And we're all supposed to believe
It's a
that Trump is
circus.
different. Yeah, it's a circus. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting, I had to share that one because I was like, whoa. And then Tara, my girl, I call her my girl now. I've been watching her recently. I don't know much about her. She's her own independent reporting because she does her own thing now on YouTube, Tara Palmieri. What I like about her, she's just been pushing back on the Epstein files, and she keeps pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And I like that. I like that she's, really trying to be there for the survivors. And remember, she was really working with, for a long time, she was when Virginia Roberts / Jeffrey was alive. She was working with her. I guess she went during COVID, and they were trying to find people that would collaborate Virginia's story. So like anybody, whether it was like the drivers or the butlers or whatever, they were going to find these people. And she went through this whole thing with Virginia. So now that Virginia's gone, she's like pushing back and going, this is crazy. Like I'm watching the Republican Party and these Republican MSM people do mental gymnastics, and now they're saying she's a victim. So I want to share with you what her feelings are and what she shares here.
Yeah. There's too many people, too many of those real victims that have spoken about how Maxwell took part in abusing them. So
yeah, there's just too much, again, just like there's too much damning evidence with showing Trump being somebody that he's trying not to show that he is. Same thing with Ghislaine Maxwell and all these people. There's just too much evidence showing that she was not a victim and she was a predator here.
To satisfy his needs. I mean, this is a predator. And then once she got them in the door, she was involved in the sexual acts. And I don't think they want to hear this. They want to create the impression that she is somehow absolved of all of this. All of these girls, especially the young ones, they have the same exact story because it was Glenn and the grooming of a woman bringing them in. They would have never showed up on a 50-year-old's doorsteps if it wasn't for an adult, posh woman who did not look like a madam. I mean, she's wearing Ralph Lauren. She went to Oxford. Her father was a press baron. He owned the New York Daily News, the Daily Mirror, incredibly posh, has a little Yorkshire Terrier, Max, he was called, and they would drive around in a chauffeured vehicle. And she said, "Oh, you're beautiful. I'm going to make you a model. I know Les Wexner," who she did know, who owned Victoria's Secret. It was all very credible. And then she tracked them and also molested them. And I feel like that needs to be told more and more, is that she was involved in the sexual pedophilia as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to hone in. Everyone needs to get that through their minds. It wasn't like she was a victim of all of this. And also, if you do research, that's another rabbit hole, the whole Maxwell, her father, all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff crazy stuff with all that too, that you can dive deep and find out some information about that as well. But yeah, she's not a victim. I think coming up here, she asks her, why do you think Trump is saying some of this stuff?
Tara, what is your theory behind why Trump is talking about these chapters and these people by name and telling these stories that, based on your reporting, are not true?
I have no idea, because the timeline, it just proves that there's pictures, there's quotes, there's so many things to suggest that if he really believes that telling the story that the procuring of Virginia was what truly offended him, then why did he continue to stay in Epstein's circle during that period of time from 2000 to 2002? Why did they break up in 2004?
Yeah.
Yep. Bingo. If he really was upset with the whole situation, how come he remained friends with them for the next few years, even after allegedly Virginia was, taken away or stolen from him, right? And we all know the real story the story that they're telling us is the real story, that the real reason they broke up, the real estate deal, right? The real estate deal broke them up. It wasn't this instance where he was poaching Trump's people, young girls. It was the real estate deal where they were fighting over a property called, I think it was called The Friendship or something.
I don't remember what it was
Coincidentally,
called. Yeah.
something like that.
Oh my.
And he got mad because Epstein made him bid too high, or he kept bidding and it made it so it was like, why are you doing that to me? Now I have to spend X amount of dollars more. That he was totally pissed off about that whole thing. Right? That's the real reason, was because of the real estate deal, and that didn't make him happy. So all of this other stuff is hogwash. Him trying to say that he didn't have anything to do with it and he didn't know and this, that, and the other, and he wasn't friends with them. It's all lies. Again,
Yeah.
So the last set of receipts that I want to share is Trump literally being seen and shown in his past when he's asked a question about pardoning certain individuals. He says almost like a scripted response in all situations, right? So the first one I have here, and it's from the Keith Edwards show, and he's going to show the 3 situations, I think, and then I'm going to show another one when he's asked about P. Diddy.
Donald Trump has pardoned criminals: Michael Flynn, Manafort, and Roger Stone. And here's how he spoke about those potential pardons before doing them. And you let me know if it sounds like similar to what we've been hearing.
I don't want to talk about pardons for Michael Flynn yet.
You pardon Paul Manafort?
I have not even given it a thought as of this moment.
Roger Stone, are you going to pardon him, sir? He's been convicted of felonies.
Am I going to pardon you? Well, I hadn't thought of it. I think it's very tough what they did to Roger Stone.
And then here's what Donald Trump said about Ghislaine Maxwell.
Would you consider a pardon or a commutation for Ghislaine Maxwell if
It's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. It's something I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
But he said every other time, and then every other time he did the thing, he pardoned her.
Right. And there's another situation where he could just easily say, no, I'm not going to pardon her. She's a convicted sex offender. Just like Epstein could have easily said, no, Trump wasn't engaging in any of that stuff with under 18-year-old girls with me. Right? Easy answer. Instead, he says, oh, I haven't even thought about it. I haven't thought about it, but I could do it if I wanted to do it. Give me a break. Okay, so here's the last one when he's asked about Diddy. It's like, you can't make this stuff up.
I know.
It's just like clockwork and same scripts. And this is also from the Keith Edwards show.
Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening. And I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
Talk about a word salad there too. He just is going, and then he always, typical Trump, talks about how great he is and how great the country is because he's doing all these great things. Okay, sure, you know.
Yeah,
But
deflect.
yeah, but again, he uses the same silly responses like, I haven't thought about it, but people are, no one's asked me, but I'm sure people are thinking about it. It's like, really? I think there's a part at the end where it shows Aubrey O'Day talking to him. Let me see here.
Yeah,
When
that's what I was gonna
yeah,
say.
hold
I
on.
know
It's
he
right here.
does talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get that too.
And I remember that when I was on The Apprentice.
Yeah, because I watched The Apprentice. I actually like that show. You're fired. Because I mean, he's great as an actor, but that's where it should have stayed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I think it's here.
Well, he's still an actor.
Well, now we're learning
Right.
from Deadline that very well may be true. And Donald Trump has previously said this about Diddy.
Working for Diddy for 6 years trained me to have to be perfect.
Working for Diddy.
Absolutely.
I love Diddy. You know, he's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy.
He expects.
Is he a good guy?
I don't want to answer that
Oh,
question.
well, I think he's a good guy.
Yeah, I don't blame her. She doesn't want to answer the question because she
Yeah.
knows how things work. She knows how powerful people are. But at the same time, I watched her when she became, for those that don't know, she was on a show on MTV many, 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 many years ago called Making the Band. And P. Diddy was the one in charge of that on MTV. And she became a part of a band, Danny Kane. I love Danny Kane. Back when I
Yeah,
was
me too.
younger,
I
I
like
really
that.
liked them. Yeah, I even went to them in concert one time. It was
Oh,
amazing.
wow.
But after like kind of over the years seeing where she's progressed and then she's kind of come out and said certain things, you know that he was abusive towards
Oh,
all the way
yeah.
he talked to them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's just, yes, he's just a horrible person. So the fact that Trump is saying he's my friend and we're good friends. Well, there you go. That tells
I
you
love
you are.
Diddy.
Yeah, you are who you hang out with, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's all the receipts on, I mean, there's more. I'm sure
There's more, but
we could
we
spend
could
a lot
day.
longer on receipts on Trump and Epstein and all his connections to all of
Yeah.
these swamp creatures, but we all need to get back to our lives.
We have things to do.
Right. So the last thing we want to talk about in our podcast, because last time we talked about our call to action with the whole thing that was going on with them spraying the lakes. There's been more news, but now it's a little different. I came across something from Children's Health Defense. So here is our call to action. It says here, the EPA pushes to allow dicamba, a pesticide twice banned by federal courts, and the decision comes weeks after Kyle Kunkler, a former lobbyist, I want to say that again, for the American Soybean Association was installed in the EPA's office. Again, I'm going to say a former lobbyist for the Soybean Association was installed in the EPA's office because, again, all these people always are connected and somehow they get their little grimy hands into the government, right?
Yep.
So he was installed in the EPA's Office of Chemical Safety and Pollution Prevention. This is what happens when pesticide oversight is controlled by industry lobbyists. Right. It's like having the wolves in charge of the chicken coop, right? You're never going to get anything that you need done that's proper because they're going to push the agendas that are bad for everybody. And also one thing I did notice when I was reading this was that dicamba and dicot both start with the sound die.
Yeah.
Which
And they're
I
made
don't.
by the same company, you said, right?
Yeah. So if we read further down, it does show us that it is from the same company that dicot is being created through. Right here. Let's see. Syngenta. Okay. And it's also connected to BASF and Bayer companies. So
Mm.
if we start here, it says, despite US President Donald Trump's supposed goal, I love that. Yes, exactly. Supposed goal. They all
Mhm.
talk a big talk, but they don't ever really do anything. To make America healthy again, his administration is moving to re-register dicamba, a pesticide twice banned by the federal courts. Okay. And again, like it's already banned in other places like Europe, which it's crazy how lots of things are banned in places like Europe, but they insist on
Yeah.
to continue poisoning us here in America.
So this is something that they're going to be using on food as it grows. Is that the idea?
Yes. So this is for food. So the dicot that we talked about in the last episode is to spray the lakes, and this is actually
Right.
to spray the food. So it says the U.S. Environmental Agency, the EPA, announced its latest push to allow the use of dicamba on July 23rd. I also find it interesting it's all around the same time. Because the last one we did, it was in the beginning of July. They were spraying the lakes, and now it's all in July.
Yeah. Yeah.
Detailing proposed mitigation efforts, including temperature restrictions and the use of drift reduction agents that EPA spokesperson Molly Vasalui, their names are always so hard to pronounce, told the Washington Post would minimize impact to certain species in the environment. Okay. It says the proposed registration is now open. Here's the part where we can do call for action. Right here, this whole paragraph here. It says it is now open for public comment until August 22nd, but supporters and critics are already weighing in. While the pesticide companies welcomed the agency's attempt to allow dicamba products from BASF, Bayer, and there's that Syngenta, the China company, the advocacy groups behind the court battles sharply called out the Trump administration. Also, too, one thing that we have to understand here is that the EPA has had 7 long years of massive drift damage. And so it already kind of knows, like, because when you spray these things, the wind blows it through and it drifts, right?
Mhm.
Right? So
Yeah.
they've learned that it cannot be used, dicamba cannot be used safely with GE dicamba resistant crops. So it's even useless on these GMO crops anyways, but when they spray it, it
Mm.
sprays everybody. Like it blows with the wind and it goes everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what it says is if we allow these actions to go through, farmers and residents throughout the rural America will again see their crops, trees, and home gardens decimated by this drift, this
Ugh.
dicamba drift, and natural areas like wildlife refuges will also suffer. EPA must reverse course and withdraw its plans to reapprove this hazardous herbicide. So it's happening, folks. They are trying to get us, and they have been for a while. This is not anything new. And we have the skies are being sprayed. We've got the water being sprayed. We've got our food being sprayed. It's happening in full force. And people need to stop arguing over blue versus red. And this needs to be a priority right here, right
Yeah.
now.
Because they're
Number one.
just like making this facade that they're out there trying to make things healthier and the Maha, whatever, make America healthy again. How are you believing that with things like this going on?
Right. Right. And
It's not
one thing
happening.
I do want to add to this that people probably don't know about, because I didn't even know about it.
Mhm.
I know about a lot about things and the shenanigans that have happened over the past decades with vaccines, like the 1986 Childhood Vaccine Liability Act, where they took away the liability off of vaccine manufacturers so they couldn't be sued. Okay, so we see that in 1986 they took away the liability for vaccine manufacturers. Well, it sounds like from I have heard, I haven't verified this yet, but I have heard that they are doing the same for these pesticide companies. So there's something going on in the works, or there's something that's already been put in the works where these pesticide companies are not liable for the damage that they're doing to people. And so if you get poisoned by Roundup or you get poisoned by these companies and you get sick or you get cancer, there's no liability. You can't sue these companies. So we need to sound the alarms, trying to help people see that this stuff isn't right. And if these things were so safe, if these pesticides and these pokes, these vaccines are so safe, then why do they need to have this immunity? Why do these companies need immunity from being sued? You know, these are the questions we have
Right.
to ask ourselves.
This actually goes along with that True Stream Media video where she was talking about, it's really about the financial stuff, but within that, they do mention like the whole depopulation agenda. Like it
Mhm.
just goes right along with all of this.
Right. And that
Like
was all
this
in plain
is
sight.
happening. It's
Yeah,
happening.
it's not a conspiracy. I mean,
No.
they got rid of the Georgia stones, but most of us that saw and knew and visited them ourselves saw that the depopulation was right there on the stones. This is not something that's like conspiracy. This is literally happening in real time. So our call to action and just our podcast in general, what we just want people to do is what we always kind of, our final thought is that we have to focus on the things that matter and put our attention and our energy towards those things and stop again fighting and being distracted by the things that don't matter so we can actually make change and do something.
I agree.
So
It's time to unite and stop being divided by these people. That's exactly what they want.
yeah. So that message, united we stand, divided we fall, it couldn't be more true, you know? Couldn't be more true. Well, I want to thank our audience for sticking through with us, and I really enjoy doing these podcasts, and stay tuned for the next one. Maybe we'll do a more lighthearted one. I'm kind of ready to do a more lighthearted one after all these intense
I
deep
know.
topics, you know? So maybe
Depending
that
on what's happening, I mean.
maybe we'll do something fun and we can maybe giggle and laugh and have a jolly old time. So, yeah, I guess that's a wrap then, huh?
Okay.
We're
that's a
all
wrap.
done. Yep. Well, until next time. See you guys next time and see you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.